In the bustling city of New Seoul, where gleaming skyscrapers touched the clouds and hover transports hummed through the air, Jae Park prepared for an evening that would change everything. He was a 32-year-old systems engineer, known more for his quiet precision than his social skills, carefully adjusting his dark blue suit in the reflection of his apartment's smart glass window. The date wasn't a typical romantic encounter. It was a carefully orchestrated diplomatic meeting, part of Earth's ongoing cultural exchange program with the Meridian Alliance. Elena Kim, a diplomatic liaison with sharp eyes and an even sharper mind, had been assigned to assess Jae's potential for a critical interstellar technology transfer project. Jae's hands trembled slightly as he fixed his collar. He wasn't nervous about impressing Elena. He was nervous about representing humanity. Every interaction with alien delegations felt like walking a tightrope, where one wrong word could potentially impact international relations. The restaurant was located in the 87th floor Sky Lounge of the Celestial Tower, a place where gravity seemed optional and the city's lights sparkled like scattered diamonds below. Transparent walls offered a panoramic view of New Seoul, a city that had risen from the ruins of climate disasters and global conflicts, now a beacon of human resilience and technological innovation. When Elena arrived, she moved with a grace that suggested military training. Her deep green professional attire contrasted with the soft ambient lighting of the restaurant. She was exactly 5 minutes early, a trait Jae appreciated immensely. "Mr. Park," she greeted, her voice calm and professional. "I hope you don't mind that I selected our meeting location." Jae bowed slightly, a gesture mixing traditional Korean respect with modern diplomatic protocol. "Not at all, Ms. Kim. The view is impressive." Their table was positioned near the transparent wall, offering a breathtaking vista of the city. Robotic servers glided silently between tables, delivering cuisine that blended traditional Korean flavors with molecular gastronomy techniques. As they settled, a holographic menu materialized between them. Jae noticed Elena's subtle scan of the environment. She was assessing everything, not just the menu. Years of diplomatic training had made her observant, almost hip-aware. "I've reviewed your project proposals," Elena began, selecting a dish that transformed from liquid to solid as it was placed on the table. "Your work on adaptive quantum communication systems is intriguing." Jae knew intriguing from a diplomat could mean anything from mild interest to complete dismissal. He remained composed, taking a small sip of a blue-green liquid that changed temperature and flavor with each drink. Their conversation started technical, discussions about communication protocols, quantum entanglement, and the challenges of interstellar data transmission. But underneath the professional discourse, something else was brewing. A tension, a sense that this meeting was more than just a casual professional assessment. Jae understood the stakes. Earth was still proving itself on the galactic stage. Every interaction was a test, every conversation a potential turning point. The Meridian Alliance had been watching humanity, waiting to see if they were more than just another emerging species with technological ambitions. As the evening progressed, the city outside continued its never-ending dance of lights and movement. Hover vehicles traced invisible lines across the sky. Holographic advertisements shifted and morphed. But inside the restaurant, two humans sat discussing possibilities that could reshape humanity's future. Neither Jae nor Elena knew exactly how this evening would end, but they both felt something significant was about to unfold, a feeling that hung in the air like a barely perceptible electrical charge, waiting to spark into something extraordinary. The night was young, the city was alive, and somewhere between the technical discussions and diplomatic nuances, a story was about to begin. As the evening progressed, the conversation between Jae and Elena shifted from professional to something more complex. A Meridian diplomatic representative named Lark joined their table, his translucent skin and angular features marking him distinctly as a non-human visitor. Lark's voice carried a subtle mechanical undertone, a result of advanced communication implants. He spoke about humanity's recent technological developments, with a tone that balanced between professional curiosity and thinly veiled condescension. "Your quantum communication networks are developing," Lark commented, his fingers tracing holographic data streams that only he could fully interpret. Interesting progress for a species that was barely space-capable 50 years ago. Jay recognized the subtle insult. Humanity had transformed from a planet on the brink of environmental collapse to a spacefaring civilization in less than 3 generations. Each technological leap had been hard-earned, paid for with human determination and countless sacrifices. Alina watched the interaction carefully. She understood the diplomatic dance happening beneath the surface, a complex negotiation where words were weapons and subtle gestures carried significant meaning. Lark continued discussing technological capabilities, systematically pointing out human limitations. He spoke about meridian processing speeds, communication ranges, and adaptive technologies that made human systems seem primitive by comparison. Jay's muscles tensed, not from anger, but from a deep-seated professional pride. He knew every technological milestone humanity had achieved. Each breakthrough represented years of collaborative human effort, innovative thinking, and relentless problem-solving. The restaurant's ambient temperature seemed to drop. Other diners continued their conversations, unaware of the subtle diplomatic tension building at their table. Robotic servers moved silently, delivering molecular cuisine that transformed with each bite. "Our computational models suggest human technological growth is predictable," Lark stated, his translucent fingers manipulating a holographic projection that showed humanity's technological trajectory. Alina caught the microscopic change in Jay's facial expression. Most would have missed it. A slight tightening around his eyes, a barely perceptible straightening of his spine. She recognized it as a sign of building internal resistance. Jay understood the game. Diplomatic encounters like these were not just about exchanging information. They were about establishing psychological boundaries, demonstrating technological and cultural confidence. Outside the restaurant's transparent walls, New Seoul continued its endless dance of light and movement. Hover vehicles traced invisible paths across the night sky. Holographic advertisements shifted and transformed, reflecting a city always in motion. Lark's commentary continued, each statement carefully constructed to subtly undermine human technological achievements. He spoke about meridian neural networks, quantum communication systems, and adaptive technologies that made human systems seem like primitive experiments. But Jay was not just listening. He was analyzing. Every statement was an opportunity to understand the Meridian's technological perspective, to identify potential collaborative opportunities, and to demonstrate human intellectual adaptability. Alina observed the interaction with professional detachment. She recognized the delicate balance of power being negotiated, not through weapons or direct confrontation, but through intellectual discourse and technological demonstration. The restaurant's sophisticated environmental systems adjusted lighting and temperature almost imperceptibly, creating an atmosphere that enhanced conversation and subtle communication. Lark's final statement hung in the air like a challenge. Humanity's technological growth remains fundamentally limited by biological constraints. A moment of silence followed, not a defeated silence, but a calculated pause. The kind of silence that suggests a response is coming, a response that might change everything. Jay's fingers, which had been quietly processing data through his Neuralink communication device, suddenly stopped moving. His eyes, which had been listening and analyzing, now carried a different expression. Something was about to change. The diplomatic evening was no longer just a routine assessment. It had become something else entirely. A potential turning point in human-meridian relations. The night was far from over, and Jay Park was about to demonstrate that human potential was anything but predictable. The first warning came as a subtle vibration. Most humans would have missed it, but Jay's enhanced sensory training caught the micro-tremor immediately. Something was wrong. Outside the restaurant's transparent walls, the night sky of New Seoul suddenly changed. Quantum distortion patterns began appearing, telltale signs of approaching spacecraft using advanced stealth technology. These were not standard transit vehicles. These were military-grade interceptors. Lark's translucent skin shifted color, a meridian physiological response indicating immediate threat perception. Alina's hand unconsciously moved toward her concealed communication device. Jay was already moving. In one fluid motion, he transformed a nearby wine chiller into an electromagnetic pulse generator. His fingers moved with practiced precision, rewiring internal circuits using nothing more than a metallic chopstick and the restaurant's built-in communication panels. "Incoming hostile intervention," he said quietly, his voice calm and calculated. The restaurant's sophisticated security systems suddenly went dark. Not a complete shutdown, but a strategic disruption that suggested something more complex was happening. Holographic displays flickered. Robotic servers froze mid-movement. 3 distinct attack vectors were converging, one targeting the restaurant's primary communication hub, another preparing to breach the building's quantum shielding. The third, a more subtle infiltration attempting to disable local defense systems. Lark looked shocked. Alina looked impressed. Joe continued working. A salt shaker became a quantum frequency disruptor. A decorative table component was quickly transformed into a makeshift signal jammer. His movements were precise, almost mathematical, each action calculated to maximum efficiency. Outside, the first wave of attack drones appeared. Sleek, silent, deadly. But they weren't expecting a human engineer who could turn a fine dining environment into a defensive battlefield. The restaurant's ambient lighting turned deep red, an emergency protocol that most occupants would interpret as a standard system test. But Jay knew better. This was a carefully orchestrated attack designed to look like a random incident. "Stay calm," he told Alina and Lark. "Do not panic." Meridian attack protocols were complex. They relied on technological superiority and overwhelming force. They did not anticipate someone who could weaponize restaurant equipment faster than their computational models could predict. Jay's neural implant, a cutting-edge human technology developed in the last decade, began processing multiple threat scenarios simultaneously. Each potential attack route was analyzed, categorized, and a potential countermeasure developed in microseconds. The first drone attempted to breach the restaurant's quantum shielding. It should have succeeded. Meridian technology was generations ahead of standard human defensive systems. But Jay's improvised quantum disruptor, created from a wine cooler and communication panel, sent a feedback loop that completely disabled its navigation systems. Alina watched in stunned silence. Lark's translucent skin began shifting through multiple color patterns, a clear indication of extreme surprise and computational recalculation. 2 more drones approached. Standard attack formation. Predictable. Except nothing about this moment was standard or predictable. Jay's hands continued moving. A decorative water fountain became a high-frequency sonic weapon. A digital menu transformed into a signal interference device. Each item in the restaurant was not just an object, but a potential tool of defense. The attack was sophisticated, designed to look random, intended to create maximum confusion. But Jay Park was not a standard human. He was a product of humanity's most advanced training programs, an engineer who understood that technology was simply a language waiting to be reinterpreted. In less than 3 minutes, he had neutralized a complex, multi-vector attack using nothing more than restaurant equipment and his own remarkable mind. The night was far from over, and humanity was about to send a very clear message. The aftermath of Jay's defensive maneuver hung in the air like charged particles. Alina stared, her professional composure momentarily shattered. Lark's translucent skin flickered through an impossible range of colors, a meridian physiological response indicating complete computational shock. Jay remained calm, his breathing steady, his movements precise. Around him, the restaurant looked like a battlefield transformed by scientific creativity. Broken drone fragments, rewired restaurant equipment, quantum disruption patterns still echoing through the sophisticated environmental systems. "Explain," Alina demanded, her voice a mixture of professional curiosity and barely contained excitement. Jay's neural implant continued processing data. Multiple threat scenarios were being analyzed, recorded, and categorized. What seemed like random defensive actions were actually carefully calculated technological interventions. The first drone's wreckage told a complex story. Its advanced Meridian guidance systems had been completely scrambled by a device created from a wine cooler and a communication panel. No standard human technology should have been capable of such precise disruption. Outside, New Seoul continued its endless dance of lights and movement. Hover vehicles traced invisible paths across the night sky, completely unaware of the remarkable events happening in the Sky High restaurant. Lark finally spoke, his mechanical voice carrying a tone of genuine uncertainty. Your technological adaptation exceeds computational predictions. Jay understood the subtext. The Meridian Alliance had extensive data on human technological capabilities, but this moment represented something entirely different, a demonstration of human adaptability that defied standard mathematical models. Each piece of restaurant equipment became a potential weapon in Jay's hands. A decorative water fountain transformed into a high-frequency sonic disruptor. The digital menu became a complex signal interference device. What seemed like random objects were actually sophisticated tools waiting to be reinterpreted. Alina's neural communication device began tracking and recording everything. This was more than a defensive action. This was a live demonstration of human potential that would be analyzed by diplomatic teams for years to come. The attack had been sophisticated. Multiple attack vectors, quantum stealth technology, advanced drone systems designed to create maximum confusion. But Jay Park represented something the attackers could not predict. A human who could transform any environment into a defensive system. His training went beyond standard engineering protocols. He was part of a new generation of human specialists, individuals who understood technology not as a fixed system, but as a flexible language waiting to be rewritten. Lark's computational systems were struggling. Human actions were typically predictable, mathematical, linear, but Jay's response existed in a realm beyond standard computational models. Adaptive, creative, impossible to fully predict. How? Lark asked, his mechanical voice carrying a rare emotional undertone. How did you process and respond so quickly? Jay simply smiled. A small, almost imperceptible gesture that carried more information than words could express. The restaurant's environmental systems slowly returned to normal. Robotic servers began moving again. Holographic displays flickered back to life. But something had fundamentally changed. This was more than a defensive action. This was a statement. A clear demonstration that humanity's potential could not be easily categorized or predicted. Alina's communication device was recording every moment, every subtle movement, every technological intervention. This would be analyzed by diplomatic teams, technological experts, and military strategists across multiple star systems. Jay understood he had done more than defend a restaurant. He had sent a message. A clear, powerful communication about human potential that would echo far beyond this single moment. The night was young. The city continued its endless dance of light and movement. And humanity had just demonstrated that its true potential existed in a realm beyond standard computational prediction. The diplomatic report arrived 3 days after the incident. It was a meticulously crafted document that attempted to capture the impossible, explaining how a simple dinner date had transformed into a pivotal moment in human Meridian relations. Jay Park sat in a minimalist office, his fingers tracing the holographic projection of the report. The document was filled with technical jargon, but underneath the complex language was a simple truth. Humanity had proven itself unpredictable. Alina Kim stood by the window, watching the New Seoul skyline. Her career had been defined by diplomatic precision, but this incident was different. Jay had done something unprecedented. He had turned a potential disaster into a demonstration of human capability. The Meridian Alliance's initial response was complex. Their computational models had been completely disrupted. How could a human engineer, using nothing more than restaurant equipment, neutralize a sophisticated multi-vector attack. Lark, the Meridian representative, submitted a report that became an instant classified document across multiple star systems. His analysis went beyond standard diplomatic language. He described Jay's actions as a quantum leap in adaptive human technology. Official investigations revealed deeper layers. The attack was not random. It was a carefully orchestrated test, designed to probe human defensive capabilities. But instead of revealing weakness, Jay had demonstrated something far more powerful: human creativity. Government technology experts spent weeks analyzing the restaurant's remnants. Each piece of equipment Jay had transformed became a subject of intense study. How could a wine cooler become a quantum disruptor? How could a digital menu transform into a signal interference device? The diplomatic community buzzed with conversations. This was more than a technological demonstration. This was a statement about human potential. News networks ran carefully managed stories. Most focused on the heroic dinner date narrative. But those who understood technology recognized something deeper, a fundamental shift in how humanity was perceived. Jay received multiple invitations: technology conferences, diplomatic meetings, military strategy discussions, but he remained calm, understanding that this moment was bigger than personal recognition. Elena's career took an unexpected turn. Her report became a landmark document in interstellar diplomatic studies. She had witnessed something remarkable, a spontaneous demonstration of human adaptability that defied standard computational predictions. The Meridian Alliance adjusted their technological assessments. Human potential could no longer be categorized using existing mathematical models. Something had fundamentally changed. In classified meetings, military strategists discussed the implications. If one human engineer could transform a restaurant into a defensive system, what might be possible with coordinated human effort? Weeks passed. The initial excitement gradually transformed into systematic analysis. But the core message remained clear. Humanity was not just another emerging species. They were something else entirely. Jay returned to his normal life. But everything had changed. He understood that he had done more than defend a restaurant. He had sent a message that would echo across star systems. The city of New Seoul continued its endless dance of light and movement. Hover vehicles traced invisible paths across the sky. Holographic advertisements shifted and transformed. But something fundamental had shifted. Humanity had just demonstrated that its true potential existed in a realm beyond standard prediction. A realm of creativity, of unexpected adaptation, of transforming limitations into opportunities. And this was just the beginning. The night was young. The possibilities were endless, and humanity was ready to show the universe exactly what it was capable of achieving.